Welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk About series. Today's topic will be balance. So let's dive straight into it. First and foremost, balance is very misunderstood within some parts of the community. The balance in this game isn't designed for PvP, it's designed for survivability. Best example, a Hipsy isn't designed to fight back. It's designed to escape or stay hidden and not to be spotted in the first place. A Kano isn't designed to fight as Stego. It's designed to easily avoid trouble with the likes of Stego and many of that size which are yet to come. A Kano is designed to ambush and fight prey of its own or smaller size. Every creature in this game will have some dinos which suit them as prey and others which they should rather avoid. The whole balance is down to this point. If you can beat them, then you have at least a chance to avoid them. So, if a Stego would be faster as a Kano, then it would be unbalanced. But as a Kano you can easily avoid them and go for prey which suits you better. That's why a Kano and a Stego are well balanced. At least well enough to don't get frustrated. Because the only reason to die to a Stego is getting too close. So it's up to the Kano and not the Stego. That said, of course there are always some weird situations which can be frustrating. Like getting ambushed by a Stego while you want to safe lock, or a Stego which is body camping. Yes, that's annoying. But that isn't because it isn't balanced. That is because there are annoying people out there. Which you meet in every PvP game, by the way. These people are the reason for your frustration. As annoying as it is, that's not about balance. Anyway, the whole game is designed for survivability. Weaker dinos are able to escape or avoid trouble. They are either faster, more agile, or have unique features which allow them to get away. Like Hera can climb on a tree, Pipe can escape into the water, or out of the water in terms of a dino, Patera can fly away, and so on. So, to balance all dinos to be able to PvP each other nice and fair never was and never will be the aim of the game. The opposite. The aim is that each dino has some dinos which are rather easy prey, some which are nicely balanced, and some which you shouldn't even try. This is a very good thing, by the way, as I will explain later on. Anyway, I think it's important to understand this first before we move on. Some people think the balance is or should be about PvP, which is ridiculous. It's a survival game with one of the biggest size ranges ever. From Hipsy to Pew. We are talking about 50 kg versus 50 tons. That's a factor of 1,000 in weight. As long as you don't equip a Hipsy, Tudon or any other tiny dino with a rocket launcher, it will be tough to argue any chance to win such a battle. It isn't designed to be a Counter-Strike where each character is perfectly balanced for a 1v1. It isn't even a competitive game which is balanced around skills only. So, to all the wannabe PvP pros in this game, it has no ranks. A PvP game without ranks is meaningless in terms of competition. That's like doing any kind of sport, but you only compete within an amateur level. No matter how often you win and how good you think you are, you never will be considered as a pro as long as you don't climb up the ranks and face other pros only. That's what separates the men from the boys. Without ranks, you are king of the noobs at best. Don't get me wrong. Skills can play a huge part, but it's just one out of many parts when it comes to fighting in the aisle. Just think about it. You balance a Kano and a Tenno perfectly well. Imagine they are as equal as possible, and skills are the only reason why any of them will win in a 1v1. Well, nice. But what if there are 2 Carnos and only 1 Tenno? Or 1 Carno and a herd of 4 Tennos? Or an adult Carno which attacks a UV Tenno? Where is the balance then? It's gone. Completely gone. Let's be real. More than 90% of the fights in the Isle are unfair in any way. But this isn't down to the actual balance or the stats of any dino. It's down to the following and probably even more factors. The most obvious are numbers. They play a way bigger part for the outcome of a fight than the actual stats do. It doesn't matter if a Carno has 250 or 150 bite force, because it doesn't change the outcome if there are 3 Tennos of your skill level in front of your solo Carno. So numbers beat stats all the time. And it's way more likely to be outnumbered than having a 1v1 in the Isle. It's also down to size. No matter what stats your Tenno might have as adult, as UV you are easy prey to Carno. Seriously, how often did you get killed by a dino which had a growth advantage? I did quite a lot, and this is a huge part of the game. You can't balance that in any way. It's impossible, and even more, it would make the whole game meaningless. What's the point of a UV Tenno being as strong as an adult Tenno just to always be perfectly balanced in a fight with a Carno of any size? That doesn't make sense. But there are even more factors. Like the surroundings. To balance it perfectly well, you would need to make everyone be able to use everything others can use to their advantage. Like an Omni can jump on a rock to recover and hide. Well, every dino, even Dibble, would have to be able to jump on that rock, or dive like a dino, climb like a Herva, fly like a Patera, if you want to balance them equally. Well, I mean, flying Dibbles are a fun picture to imagine, but back to reality, it doesn't make sense. So, in fact, if you fight a Serra as an Omni, then a nearby rock is a way bigger advantage than 30% more bite force, stam, health, or any other kind of stat. I'm telling you, stats are overrated in this game. Seriously, very overrated. Even little details play a bigger part than stats. Imagine you are crossing the map, used half of your stam, and suddenly get attacked by another dino. Then you are pretty messed up, even if your stats are equal. Because starting with half of your stam is a huge disadvantage. So many things are way bigger than stats. Let's say you have a 3 versus 3, but one group is in voice chat and the other isn't. Well, that's a big advantage. No matter how equal the stats are, voice chat is a huge advantage in many ways. Just the fact that you don't make noise while you are communicating is a huge advantage. And like I mentioned before, it has no ranks. So a new player might run into a 2000 hours player. But even a 2000 hours player can have a huge advantage versus another 2000 hours player, if one of them mains his dino and the other plays them all. So again, there are so many different things which influence the outcome of a battle. Stats are way down the line in my opinion. Beside all of that, and I can't stretch that topic enough, it's still an alpha. It's no problem if a dino is OP in any update during the development. The only stats which will count are the ones in the final version of the game. Everything till then is just testing and getting data by messing around with different powers to see what's the outcome. But I spoke quite a lot about alpha already, so let's move on. In my opinion, skills play a huge part, but just until a certain point. They play a huge part in battle, but only a small part in survival. Map knowledge, for example, is much better to survive than being a master of PvP only. If you know the map, then you know where to get water and food, where to avoid bigger ones while you grow, where to find suitable prey, and so on. To me, survival is step 1, and PvP is step 2. I'm the kind of guy who enjoys step 1 a lot. but I also enjoy step 2. I'm no master of step 2, but I'm pretty good in step 1, which allows me to mostly pick my step 2 moments. That's something very important in my opinion, because even the best PvP player doesn't get many victories as long as you don't know how to get your food first, how to avoid bigger ones while growing, or not to drink at the water access lake. Well, I also drink there every now and then, but you should get my point. Because there are situations where skills don't play any part at all. Even the best player will lose his UV Tenno to an average skilled adult Kano. But like I said, I do think skills play a huge part in battle, which I very much appreciate by the way. A very skilled Omni can outrun even Kanos. A very skilled Tenno can fight off 3 average Kanos. In fact, the skill gap is a huge factor for my last point. The main reason why PvP in the Isle is so fun is because it's kind of asymmetrical. The Brightarm players may know what I'm talking about, because that game was even more fun before skill-based matchmaking arrived. Anyway, we have no ranks in the Isle, so a new player has to compete with a 2000 hour main player. On top of that, you have all the factors I mentioned before, like surroundings, size difference, growth difference, being on Discord, outnumbering, and so on. This is what makes the game so interesting. You never know what you're facing and how it's gonna end. You might attack an Omni as Kano and it turns out to be a pro Omni player who destroys you. You might attack a Tenno and suddenly 3 more are nearby and join against you. Even the most experienced and skilled player can run into a situation with almost no chance to survive. But also the other way around. A less experienced player can choose a Stego and has a good chance not to get destroyed in each fight. On the other hand, a good Dilo player can use this situation and kill a new Stego player. Meanwhile, you don't stand much of a chance if the Stego knows how to play it well. So the outcome of Stego versus Dilo isn't down to stats only. It's also down to skills, numbers, surroundings and other factors which can be different in each encounter. That's what makes the game interesting on the long run. We can pick our fights. The balance comes by us, if we want. I still remember when I started this game in Legacy. Even growing was a huge task. My first battles were nothing but me getting destroyed. Then I met the Babu Herb as Sub-Kani and suddenly I got my first kill. I was so happy back then. Today I'm more experienced and don't fight any Babus, because they are no challenge anymore and therefore boring to kill in my opinion. Back then it was the success I needed to keep me interested in the game. Nobody likes a game where you have no success at all. You need a little ego push every now and then to keep going. As more skilled you get, as bigger challenges you can go for. Like going for a Vex as Utah in Legacy, or Stego in Efrima, or any other big dino which is yet to come. You can also attack a group of 6 Omnis as solo Kano if you are getting bored from killing 2v3 easily as soon as you hit that skill level. This mix of size, skills, numbers and everything I mentioned makes it possible to always find a challenge or even a fair fight. No matter what skill level you are. Of course, it also can go the other way around. But that's what makes it interesting to me. Because like I often said, I love that you never know how your session will end. So, if we break it down to reality, then we can decide if we want a fair fight or not. My experience showed me though, most people prefer a fight to their advantage. Most people pick the easy fights, like killing UV as adults, or going for a solo player as a group, and so on. But that's up to us players, and not any kind of stats or balance. We are the ones who mostly go for unbalanced fights. Which I also appreciate by the way, because again, that's why you never know what happens next, and that's what keeps me playing for thousands of hours meanwhile. That's it for today. I hope you understand how less important stats are and that it doesn't matter if an Omni can face a Kano or not. Every dino will have prey to go for and others to avoid in the end. No dino will be safe and no dino will be without a chance to survive. That's all that matters, to have fun and also good fights. Because even if the stats of Omni won't feature Kano as prey, there will be plenty of other dinos to go for. And even if you're the most skilled around, then you still will find plenty of challenges to take on. Thanks for watching and also for the many support I get from all the lovely people within our community. Your Mombi.